Hey, that's working. All right, we're up.
Oh, shit.
I took us out at a slower speed, so we'll have to talk like this.
Oh, shit.
I guess I got to mute that too. There we go. All right, well, all right, we're not doing anything yet. But hello, everyone. It's Adam, Corpulent Geek here. Yeah, we really were live, honey.
Oh, wow. We really have started.
Yes, we really have. I told you I was trying to get it. So, this is Adam, Corpulent Geek, and that's my lovely wife over there.
Christina.
Anyway.
That's so weird.
Yeah, but this is super impromptu, but I felt like it was important because tomorrow, as you can see down below, I know where to point to for down below. I still don't have the pointing that way. Ooh, that's actually the way I thought I was going to go. Anyway, I was getting all distracted by the camera talk now.
Ooh, shiny.
It really was that way. I thought it was important for she and I to sit down before we go to see it a second time and talk about our first viewing of Star Wars The Last Jedi. You know, someday I'm going to get cool intros for our stuff.
Someday you keep threatening to.
I do keep threatening to, but I think I can now that I have the studio all worked out.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, so we both definitely liked it. We didn't love it and fawn over it. Like, I didn't love it and fawn over it, but we definitely liked it. But for a change, like coming out of the theater itself, at least I did, definitely was like, well, you know, there could have been this, that, and the other thing. And I haven't had that experience yet with Star Wars movie. Because I watched Kevin Smith's review today, and that was pretty good because he's in there. And people say I'm in the bag for Star Wars. Of course I'm in the fucking bag for Star Wars. I love that shit.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah. Anyway, so we were going to start off with some of the things that we might have liked for them to have done different. Of course, with the disclaimer that Rian Johnson made his movie and it was very good and all. But just things that we just don't feel like worked. So then that way we don't seem like utter fanboys and fangirls. Fan people. Nice. That's why we're married. And then we'll just go into phoning over all the good parts that we had for a while. So Chris was going to start.
Yay. I also will say that I saw it at like 11:15 Thursday night. December, whatever, 16th, 15th.
The first
night, yeah, the opening night. So it's been a little bit of time, and I'm looking forward to seeing it tomorrow. We're actually going to be able to see it in the same theater at the same time because we have two children.
Yeah.
So that doesn't always happen.
Someone's babysitting. Yeah.
But,
oh, and today, just in case you're watching this later, it's December 30th right now.
Yes. But
8 minutes ago is December 30th.
Yay. So overall, yeah, I did leave the theater loving it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
but it was a slow, like it was definitely a love. It was like, yes, that was Star Wars, and holy shit, it did so much different stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like, I know I needed to process all of that different stuff, but it was still Star Wars. And just like Kevin Smith, yeah, I'm in the fucking bag because it's Star Wars. And these are just new characters. We're just going to have to learn who they are, and then we can love or not love them how we'd like to, but it's Star Wars. The biggest, I guess, dislike, the thing that I felt the most when I came out of there, like, seemed odd, was the side quest, as I call it, the Finn and Rose side quest. It just felt tacked on, and it felt like, let's do this thing because we want to show you these things, and we want they want to be able to point to the thing that alerted the First Order to the cloaked ships. But it felt very...
Well, that was a long way round to go, if that's what all...
Yeah, like, I would have totally rather the First Order been like, hey, we got this blip. We found ships.
Hey, someone was looking out the window when you launched all those ships.
When you launched all those ships. We weren't that far back. And the whole... Like, I know there's definitely science that kind of contradicts the whole, like, running out of gas in space thing. That's kind of... odd, but that I didn't like. I could definitely suspend my disbelief for that. But the side quest was very clunky to me, and I like Rose and I love Finn, and I kind of liked the dynamic they set up because she was there to meet a hero, but also realize that,
tase his ass.
and then tase his ass, yeah. But also realize that our heroes are just people, and sometimes those people are scared, or they're they have a motivation that they're gonna go against their type. When we build a hero in our heads, we build them with this one type, this one motivation. They're very 2-dimensional, and she gets to know him as a 3-dimensional person, on their side quest. But it just felt very, and everyone loved Maz Kanata in her, when they called her to ask the question about the master. Yeah, I saw a lot of I loved her. She could be her own series, and it was I felt again like it was something that they plastered in, oh, remember Maz? She was a cool character. Here, let's give her a cameo. And it was just and I mean, she was doing some badass stuff, which is awesome because she's badass. I mean, she had been running some sort of meeting tavern place for 1,000 years, so you're gonna be badass. But I've just felt this whole the whole thing about it was now you have to find a master code breaker, and it just felt very.
And them constantly using the term master code breaker. I was like, we don't need to hear that. I mean, they could have had a name. They could have came up with a shortened version of the name. But I just want to glom onto something that you said about Maz Kanata. Is that how you say it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. So in the last one, she was all trying escorting Han and Finn and all them into, hey, we all have to go and we have to all fight the evil and everything. And she was in the middle of a union trade dispute thing. Shouldn't she have been fighting the First Order too?
Maybe it was against the First Order.
All right, well, that I'd like to know a little bit more background with that, but she was all talking about, yes, it's the only fight that's important, except for these Teamsters over here that I have to go and teach them what to do and who's for. Unless she was fighting on behalf of the Teamsters that were building the next Dreadnought thing or next Starkiller base thing that were going to get built, that we know is going to get built. But anyway, I didn't want to distract too much from that. Sorry, but you brought up Maz Kanata, and I knew I would have forgotten about that little sequence. So
that was my biggest dislike. That was the biggest thing that I had written down. I'll tack on to the things you say now.
Okay, cool. Well, I didn't write anything down, so there's all going to be by the seat of the pants. So I know a lot of people glommed on. I've used that phrase again. About
Codebreaker.
Master Codebreaker. About how Mark Hamill expressed displeasure with the direction that Luke Skywalker was going in, and I didn't mind too much what Luke Skywalker was in this movie because I'm definitely willing to believe that over the last 30 years or however long it's been. For them on the thing that his personality would have changed enough, but it didn't seem to the comedy part of what he was doing didn't seem in tune with the rest of the movie. And maybe Poe's kind of comedic side of things seemed right because it was all new with his character, and we're just learning about Poe since he was hardly in the first movie. But definitely his stuff, of course, we haven't said it yet, but for God's sake, spoilers. At the beginning of the first scene with Luke getting a lightsaber and throwing it over his shoulder, that just it looked to me, I really looked around and thought that this was some kind of practical joke thing going on in the theater of how nonchalant he was with just the toss over the shoulder. It seemed very the music was swelling in the background and everything. I have this thing.
I think that was Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson?
Yeah.
Just for some reason, as I was saying his last name, it sounded wrong. What?
you said it right, but I don't know why, but I get Ryan Johnson and Rainn Wilson confused because of how Ryan spells it. Like, it just goes off in my head, and so now I've got Harry Mudd directing the Star Wars franchise, and everything's all effed up. I don't even know what that would be like. I've killed Darth Vader 53 times.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I like it. I think that was Ryan's way of saying everything. Do I want one of those?
Do you want a lozenge?
Should I have a lozenge in my mouth while I'm
Well, I don't know.
broadcasting?
Will it stop you from coughing?
I don't know. Okay.
Oh my God, she caught it. Holy cow.
On camera.
On camera. I don't even know if that
Never.
was in frame or not, but
I don't
holy
care.
cow.
It was awesome to me.
Yeah, you cough all you want. I'm just going to keep peppering you with lozenges.
Eventually, you'll just start hitting me in the head.
Yeah, your water is in the shot a little bit, though. We got to get that out of there. There we go. Perfect.
Oh, it was in frame. I mean, it looked like it was. I'm watching the thing.
Oh, so you're our other viewer? Oh.
Yeah. Yay.
Nah. Who cares?
So anyway, I think that was Ryan's way of saying everything you were anticipating, everything you were thinking this movie was going to be, we're tossing it out. Like, I think that was just that was the symbol, the symbolic thing. Like, nope.
All right.
And that was, like, it was so jarring. And it was jarring. Like, I definitely won't, I won't say it wasn't. It was incredibly jarring. But then it kind of set the tone. Like, the entire movie was uneasy after that. And I said, like, when
That's
I walked out of
the
the theater, like, I loved it because it was Star Wars, but there was that weird feeling. And I knew it was just going to be time to process it that I needed, and then it would kind of click into place because it was an uneasy movie. It was a movie that constantly challenged, like, what you thought should be happening. And it challenged it on so many levels. It, you know, the themes that he reflected from our current times, which is I think I've said this when we were talking about Star Trek. The people who are the angriest that this has changed aren't acknowledging the fact that these shows and movies have always reflected the current goings about. Like, that's what I think science fiction does in general. It does the best is it takes the themes and the happenings, and it tells those stories in a fantastical way so that you don't come in with your prejudgments about the thing. They strip away the people who it's involved with, and so you're not already judging. Like, when you say the word millennial, people have a judgment already about that. Like, that's wherever you are in your generation, people judge that word and that group of people. But they told stories about the millennials and about the upcoming generation and how they're needing to go in a different direction from the previous generations, because obviously some things haven't worked. And that is an allegory for our current times. Clearly, it was like a very clear allegory. And so the uneasiness, I think, is that feeling of change and that feeling of, I thought I was going to be very comfortable, and in the movie ended up challenging us. And I think that is it's sometimes hard to get over, but once you sit back and you look at it for what it is. Like, that's why I'm really excited to go see it again tomorrow, because I've had time to process and to settle, and now I can actually do a better job, I think, of looking at the things that from like a cinematic standpoint or from a storytelling standpoint really didn't work. Although I still think that side quest will be one of them.
Well, that's definitely going to be one of them, because that's something that everyone calls out, and rightfully so. And I understand the need for a B plot in a movie, to change the pace a little bit, but it was too much, and it seemed like
the overarching.
It was like Space Monte Carlo, just.
They had this
in there.
This casino, and they were showing us the 1%, and it was like those things that they were showing us and representing. That here is clearly a rehash of the Empire is storming through the galaxy again. How is everyone else? Like, we are personally invested in the Resistance because those are our players, those are our guys, those are our heroes from the last 3 movies. And then Force Awakens. but how is the rest of the galaxy reacting to this? Because in the first 3 movies, the feeling was that the Empire was bad and that the rebels were good, and that's all we really saw. So here, I think they were trying to show us, like, some people don't have a problem that the First Order is doing whatever, because they're selling weapons to whoever will buy them, and they're making money, and so what? And that's clearly something that happens in the real world. That's, we have arms dealers all the time. We're just making a pretty money, and they don't really care as long as someone will allow them to stay in business. So I
and that was something good to show, but
I don't feel like they showed it well.
Yeah,
that's the part where it just didn't feel. I felt like they got him on that side quest to go to that place. Like that was what because Rose gave that her monologue on the balcony overlooking the horse-ish track.
Horse-ish.
And
Space horses.
Space horses. And that was, I think, the point of us getting there. And then running the space horses through the casino.
That was kind of cool.
Which is cool. But it really did feel kind of tacked on, which is why that's my biggest ish with it.
Yeah, and uneasy when you said that definitely felt right, because, and this does harken a little bit more to just my type of Star Wars movie and movie in general, but like I thought there would have been a little bit more. I don't know. I guess it really does go back to that this is all just new Star Wars told nowadays. Mm-hmm. Where I'm still so used to movies in the old days where it would have been like, yeah, he knows Luke's definitely a good guy, and he went off because he was having some troubles or something. But they would go there and they would easily, be like, hey, we need your help, and we know it's tough, but you can do it. Okay, you're right, I can do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really a super critical problem for me, but that did definitely help with the.
And it was told, with I think this last year especially has been, but Star Wars, since they started with The Force Awakens, has been fantastic in creating a better female presence. So the stories are being told now with a stronger. I've moved into my likes. We're still because it kind of meshes in because that feeling of unease for some people, I think, does kind of reflect the fact that we're so used to seeing a more patriarchal setup. We had the swashbuckler and the farm boy saving the princess in A New Hope. Now she was an atypical.
Yeah, she did a fair amount of her own saving.
Distress. Like
she let him right into the trash compactor.
Yeah, what a lovely smell you've discovered.
Are we going to start quoting now?
No,
is that what we're going to do?
No, sorry.
All right.
Quote me under the table. So she was atypical, and she was a strong female lead for that time, and and which is why I think we loved her so much, and why we're all mourning her now.
Yeah.
But it still was set up in that first movie was we're going to save the princess, and that was such a typical thing.
She's rich.
But
sorry. No.
Stop it.
We're not doing it.
Lock it down. But now we have this expanded female presence, which has been fantastic, and it started in The Force Awakens when we had stormtroopers and First Order officers and X-wing pilots, and we had bomber pilots, and there's Leia and Holdo and Rey and Rose and Phasma. I mean, there's so many female lead characters.
I don't really know if you can put Phasma on there, because that was another of my semi-dislikes. Of course, that does still harken back to Rian Johnson. I knew I was going to do that. Rian Johnson made the movie he wanted, but like Phasma she was like in 2 scenes, right? Like the capture scene and the execution scene. And the capture scene was nothing. She was just there. And she got to fight Finn, who managed to take her down, even though, she trained him and everything, and she had armor.
There was fires and
explosions.
And BB-8 was wrecking shop in a.
That's true. That was one of my favorite parts of the thing. BB-8's fun. They went and they took the badassery of R2-D2 and was like, yeah, he needs to be a lot better.
Let's kick it up a notch.
R2-D2 was somewhere like, that fucker. You got to walk around like that?
I think of that.
Nuts.
But yeah, so there was, you just didn't like the fact that she was only in 2 scenes?
Yeah, they totally could have used her more.
There wasn't a lot of First Order.
No, there wasn't, but Finn needed
stormtrooper presence in general, and she was a stormtrooper.
Yeah,
like, I don't know, leader.
Yeah, that's true.
Captain.
She was like, I think, I don't even know how I got this knowledge in my head, but she had something to do with like training all the stormtroopers.
Okay,
like she was the head trainer, I think. Sorry if that's wrong. Don't yell at me. But no matter what, like Finn needed a strong, like, someone to go against, because his main thing was trying to defeat the First Order, because his driving force was, we got to stop the First Order, we got to kill him and all. And I think that whole storyline would have came across better if we had one person personifying that in him, like he was,
and
like,
she wasn't that.
She didn't demonstrate it enough. Like, definitely not in this one. Like, her name didn't come up.
Oh, like from him?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He wasn't fixated on her.
Her specifically. During the fight, of course, it's I'm gonna pick out someone to fight. Oh yes, the one in the silver chrome armor.
Mm-hmm.
But I should have picked the General Hux standing there, because we know that he can't fight. He doesn't know how to talk on the cell phone to Poe at the beginning of the movie. But anyway, so yeah, so I don't know. I just wish, because see, in my mind still it's like Brienne of Tarth inside that thing, and I just would love her to just take off that helmet and be acting like her. But yeah, I didn't get that. But anyway, all right. So more stuff you liked. Strong female presence. Did we hit everything you wanted to with that?
I feel like, I guess I'm kind of answering or addressing one of the criticisms that I've seen in discussion groups about how Holdo wouldn't tell Poe the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that was demonstrated, like why she did it, because he was so reckless. And he had done, like, he had made so many bad decisions at the beginning, he got demoted. And that's all she knew. Like, she wasn't there to, she didn't really know Poe. Like, she shows up because she was next in line to succeed Leia and take over. And she didn't know who this guy was. And all she knows that the latest thing on his record was he just got demoted because he flies off the handle and, like, makes all these decisions.
I'm kind of amazed that they have someone there and that they're so accurate with their record keeping and everything. Because didn't he get smacked in the face and told you're being demoted, and then the First Order showed up and started wrecking shop?
Yeah, but that people saw him get demoted, and I'm sure they they filled her in.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I don't know. To my mind, like, that wouldn't have been the first thing. Like, we know you're in charge now. Poe got demoted. Did you hear?
She may have asked about him, because he also was, like, he thought that they were going to name him as the successor.
What?
Didn't you see how he looked?
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was...
He was doing, like, the lean forward, like, oh, they're going to say my name, and they're like, Admiral Holdo, and it was like, why would you think you were, like, next? And there's clearly other upper men, like, Akbar was still around, like, who...
All right.
And that's the thing, is that they had painted him as a overconfident flyboy. They had kind of embodied him in that patriarchy, and I kind of liked it, because he was, he had some misogynistic tendencies, nothing really strong, but enough that kind of said, here's a nice guy, he's a good guy, and we know that, we love him, we fell in love with him over the course of the last movie, and we think that he would do well. Like, yes, put him in charge. Like, he would do well, right? Because he's the good guy. But he was overconfident, and he didn't think things through, and he wasn't a good leader. Like, those are not good things for leaders to be.
Yeah, so he was definitely overconfident. And I know, like, you and I talked about this once before. You say that he was doing misogynistic stuff to a degree, but see, I
think it was more like he was supposed to be a representation of that, like, patriarchal thing. Like, the way society in the last however many years have run is that you look around at this group of people and you would immediately think, yeah, this guy can lead us. Like, here's all these women and this guy. Yeah, he should lead us. And it was, like, I feel like the dynamic between him and Holdo was supposed to be, she's in charge, she's got all the knowledge, and you don't need to know it. Now, as the audience, because we didn't know who this Holdo woman was. She just sweeps in. Like, for part of the movie, you thought, she's a bad guy. How could they track us? She's telling them. Like, you know, that's the thing. It's like, we know who the hell Laura Dern was. She's got purple hair. That was kind of awesome. But other than that, like, what is this? She's got collarbones sticking out of her.
Yeah, those collarbones were, I mean, I was scared. I was like, she's an alien.
Yeah. But
she at some point, that dress is going to come off. She's going to have, like, wings and like, extra claws coming out or something. But,
so,
you know.
I think the feeling was, you know, who is this woman? We know this guy. And, you know, why is she being so unfair to him? Like, that was, I feel like the feeling that I see, the criticisms that people are saying is like, why won't she just tell him her plan? But, like, if you really stop and think about it from her point of view, why would you tell him the plan?
Yes.
You don't know him from anyone.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The part that I don't like is that they didn't tell the audience the plan. I
feel like they wanted us to have those feelings, though. They wanted to keep us in the dark because they wanted us to question
because
her.
they knew that we were already rooting for Poe because we were familiar with Poe.
Exactly. I think that's exactly what they were. That's what he was trying to do. That's what Ryan Johnson was trying to do. Was get us have those feelings.
All right. And so I guess it was better. That he wasn't purely misogynistic. That they never showed him like deferring to a superior that was a male. We've only ever seen him with superiors that were females. So,
and he obviously respected Leia and loved her. Like, he obviously like had a lot of faith in her, and he didn't know Holdo. Like, it was this, like, he, like us in the audience, did not know her very well. And so, but he wasn't also trying to gain her trust, and he wasn't, like, he was running around doing whatever he could to just do the thing, because
do the thing.
Well, I mean, that's why he sends them off on this side track, and that's like the side quest. Like, that's, you know, that's why all these things.
Well, he respects Leia to a point, but still thinks that he knows better than her by going and
that's the misogyny that I think was people mention and paint into that.
See, but
I just know better.
Yes.
Which is something that,
but I know people that are that way for anyone, guys and girls.
Yes.
So it might not just be misogyny. To me, that's just arrogance.
Yes.
So, but
in a male female relationship,
you're gonna paint that.
It's often a way women encounter things with men where they're just like, I just know better.
No, let me tell you how it really is.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I apologize.
So I like.
I'm sorry, I'm having a moment here because we're just having an impromptu thing where we're just BSing our way through, and we're already almost a half hour in.
Nice.
We
sure know how to talk.
If we get to the runtime of the movie, we're in big trouble.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because it'll be late then.
Yeah, we just have to come in under Kevin Smith, who was an hour and a half.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna have to watch his.
I can guarantee you during this, I am not going to cry like he did.
Did he really?
Yeah, it was so close.
I love him.
But, you know, I'm just a closed off, emotionless human. So,
I like that they're going in a new direction and that they're tearing things down. I mean,
tearing things down. What do you mean? They're not saying what this laser sword. We don't need that. We're not killing off people left and right. Oh, killing off people left and right. Hold on, I got to circle back for a second.
Okay.
I am very sad that Admiral Akbar went out with like zero fanfare or anything. That makes me sad.
Oh, moment of silence for Admiral Akbar.
I really wish. Now, like and I swear I'm not trying to take anything away from the female character or Holdo or anything like that. But I really wish Akbar had been the one that had sacrificed himself on that cruiser at the end and been like, "This is a trap." Push the button and hit it. Come on, how fantastic would that have been?
Oh no.
That's not a trap. This is a trap.
Now this is a trap, and he's Australian for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But all right, sorry. I just needed to say my condolences to Admiral Akbar for going out, and like, why couldn't Leia just like mind grab him as she's flying back in? Huh? You don't think he could survive out there in space a little bit longer than a human could? Huh? Probably not. Those big eyes probably froze over really quick. All right. I understand. All right, sorry. We're all over the place now.
Mon calamari body.
All right, so
Squid sickle in space.
All right, I recognize that we've moved on to stuff that we like, but I want to backtrack into just one other thing. Are we good? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm trying not to squash on her too much. Squash on her. Ew. I'm thinking I'm throwing butternuts at her.
God, he said nuts.
What was I even going to say? Oh, all right. So the janitors on Luke Land.
Oh, the fish women. Fish caretakers?
I mean, they weren't needed at all. They did nothing but provide a little bit of comic relief.
I felt like they needed a third joke.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before. Yeah. That I don't even know
and
if they really had two good jokes.
Well, that's why the third one was supposed to be the one that punched it in.
That was going to be the one that was going to set the whole movie. Like, everyone that was pissed off about this movie, that third joke that they cut out.
Fish woman joke was going to be the thing.
It was going to be awesome.
Maybe there was another one with the third lesson. Because I think they cut the third lesson out, too. Because the movie was so long. He's like, I'm going to teach you 3 things. Actually, 2.
I'm not really going to teach you anything, though. You're going to figure it all out yourself. Here, cut that stone in half. There you go. That's 2 lessons, 2 different halves of the stone. But anyway, yeah, so, and another thing that was unneeded 100% in that movie is him milking that whatever that thing was and drinking that. That was gross. That was unnecessary. That was more unnecessary than those 2 burning bodies of Lars and Beru. There was no need for that in the original one, maybe because it just scared me as a child. But this one scared me as an adult. I'm a 45-year-old man, and that scared the hell out of me. When I saw that thing sitting there, I was like, oh, God, what's that thing happening? And he sits down in front of him. I'm like, oh, God, no. And he milks it on. I'm like, well, all right. I guess there's not a lot of food. Oh, God, he's going to drink it straight right in front of the thing. Oh, no.
And then he looks right up at her with these like crazy eyes.
Yeah, like crazy. A little bit comes out the side. Drool comes out onto his beard.
I'm guessing that was just another thing to kind of instruct us on how much living like a hermit can change you. I mean, it was just so disturbing because that thing just sits like
he's perched there. He's like, hey, Luke hasn't been around for a couple days. These things are full. I'm just gonna sit here and wait for my Jedi.
And he just like turned and looked at her like, meh. I was like, this whole thing is disturbing.
Yeah, I didn't have a single problem with the porgs. The porgs were fine. It was cute little scene. Chewbacca. Everyone else is saying, that was one thing that Kevin Smith said, that this movie was all about animal stuff and definitely with the space horses. Yeah, that was true. But the porgs, he said, and Chewbacca didn't even eat the porgs. You're crazy if you think Chewbacca didn't turn his back on them and chow down on that tasty porg. Did you see the meat on that porg?
It was golden brown, too.
It was so good. He's such a good chef out there. I want a whole series of Chewbacca just cooking on a little teeny tiny fire. You're telling me he leaves that Millennium Falcon and goes out and cooks a thing on a little fire? He doesn't have like a microwave in there with some Hot Pockets or something?
MREs.
But that porg, it looks so good. It looked like a super enhanced Cornish game hen to me.
Did you see why they had to create the porgs?
No.
Because the island it was a sanctuary, a wildlife sanctuary, and it had some kind of pelican or something.
A puffin?
Maybe it was puffins, something like that.
Okay. And they were
all
just in the
over it,
background?
and they couldn't, like, the amount of money to CGI out all the birds that were everywhere was too much, so they CGI'd in a few porgs. And then all the wide shots that, and, like, whenever you see, like, the birds and the things, like, those are porgs.
If the DC universe can CGI out Superman's mustache that he had, they could have CGI'd out the puppets.
Yeah, but how many scenes did he reshoot with that mustache in?
I don't know, enough that it was like millions of dollars of CGI that they had to do.
Well, yeah, because it's his face.
It's his face.
It's his face.
I didn't even see the movie, so I don't know how good or bad it looked. But anyway, the porgs were fine, except for that one scene when the porg like smashes his face against where the porg does the Thor. Do you know about that? Thor in every movie apparently gets his face smushed against glass. He's like, "Arr."
Really?
Yeah, that's his thing. I never knew that. Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew it because I go and I see the pictures. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. Oh, I didn't know he had a thing. I didn't quite realize.
Yeah, no, I don't know, I have a thing with too many. I don't know. Maybe there was a little too many cute and a little too much comedy. It was, again, but that's the thing. Like, this whole movie was off-putting. So I can't wait to see it again.
I enjoyed the Luke comedy. All the stuff with him with the reed touching her hand and all. When she reaches out for it and he starts, like, touching her hand. Do you feel it? Do you feel it? Smack. Yeah, that kind of stuff I enjoyed.
That's the Force. Yeah, I did. And I mean,
but like
I
those
guess we
fish
should really
people...
address Luke in general, because I mean, people were saying, and Mark Hamill's quote was kind of taken out of context, because while he did say this wasn't the Luke he knew, because he was living with the Luke that he portrayed in 3 movies 3 decades ago.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
he didn't know what that Luke had been doing for all of this time.
Yeah, and he lived with that other Luke for 38 years or whatever it was. So now that he does have to change it up.
38 years ago, when he was done wrapping up Jedi and they handed him, all right, this is what's going to happen now. Yeah, he could have been thinking for all that time about what would happen when you get so disheartened about what you thought your life's calling was supposed to be and how bad you feel like you have failed, that you decide to go into hiding and you basically become a hermit and you shut yourself off not only from people but from the Force. He would have felt more like, yes, this is what I would have become.
But I would have loved, see, all right, in my headcanon now, someone did hand him a script, like as soon as Jedi was done, of what this was going to be. And then Mark Hamill's going around trying to convince everyone. He's like, no, really, Luke is going to, like, for a minute there, try and kill his nephew.
I know.
That seems plausible, right? Because he went through the whole thing of, if you had a time machine, would you go back and kill Hitler? I'm like, well, my nephew's going to be a bad guy, so it was wink. Yeah. But anyway.
But then he made him a bad guy.
Oh,
Catch-22. So I don't feel like he betrayed any character. I don't feel like that. That's when people use words like betrayal. I just
betrayed his cat, like what he thought it was going to be.
He didn't use that word. I don't feel like he used
Mark
it.
Hamill used the word betray?
No, I don't think he did. Did he?
I can't remember the exact quote, but he definitely said, like, you took this character in directions I never would have thought.
Yeah. But I have seen other people use the word betrayal, like he betrayed the character.
Yeah, because that's boisterous.
That character. And it's like, well, but it's not your character. It's their character to do with as they please. And I don't feel like it was. Like, he went through a traumatic experience and then became a hermit.
Yeah.
Like, you go somewhere alone and have only fish people to talk to. And weird teal milk to drink out of giant teeth.
Teal milk. Nice.
Well, because I keep, like, a lot of people said it was blue, but some people said it was green, so I'm just going to call it teal.
It did look green. But blue was bantha milk, so it makes sense because that wasn't no bantha, right?
No, clearly not. They were not on Tatooine.
So it makes sense.
So yeah, but I don't feel like it was a betrayal, and I feel like his story wound up pretty awesomely.
Yeah, I'm plenty happy.
I love that, and I can't wait to see it again. And I've said that now. I think at least I have a dozen times. I can't wait to watch all of the clues that I missed the first time, as he told us, like, I'm not gonna show up with my laser sword and stand against the army, and I'm like, all of those things, and then he seems like he does, and he's there with his lightsaber. We just watched it broken, but we were like, I don't care, he's gonna face off. It was like, whatever, this is gonna be great.
Yeah,
look at all that fire he took. He's still there. Now he's gonna fight him.
Really, when all that fire went down on him and he walked out and nothing was wrong, you didn't know then?
I figured he was really powerful with the Force.
No.
Nope.
Really?
Nope. It was. I can't even remember when I was like, he's not really there. In my head. Michael and I were like sitting. My brother and I were sitting next to each other, like, ah.
Well, I really loved that part, and I love what Luke did with that, because, like he said, I'm not going to show up with my laser sword and fight that down, because it's in a practical way, and it's not Luke's way. He's not super violent in that way, and like everything else that you saw him do in that movie so far was defensive stuff, like when Rey started attacking him at that one point and everything, and so that was the quintessential. He's not going to do violence because he can't do violence because he's not really there.
Yeah, that's why I felt like it really wasn't a betrayal of his character. I felt like that's exactly what Luke would have been like.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really.
Oh, and I'm super pleased. Sorry. Okay. I'm super pleased with everything that Luke had to say about the Force and about the Jedi in that movie, because that has been a long-held belief of mine that the Jedi aren't really that good. Because no one should want to be a Jedi, because you gotta strip away your emotions about everything. You have to be super disciplined with the stuff, and you're basically an arrogant jerk if you're a Jedi. Yeah. I don't know any Jedi that are really really good people that, I mean, they turned out to be like generals with the and that's like super tons of lots of killing, and there's no need for all of that, because and what he was talking about the Force should be available and there for everyone. I know you talked before about how the Jedi taking the young to train them was just like how the First Order was taking the young, like what Finn was, snatching them up. So they were just two sides of the same coin, and doing just as bad things. And the Jedi were trying, the First Order were just trying to swell their ranks and have more cannon fodder to go out. But the Jedi were even worse in a way, because they were just trying to consolidate their power all within just Jedi. And if you were Force sensitive and they didn't think you could handle that and all, they were going to kick you to the curb and not let you get any training at all. So you wouldn't be able to get any help with figuring out your powers. But if you were strong enough with it, come on in. We'll browbeat you until you're our way, and
which is what ultimately led to their demise.
Yeah,
and because Anakin was not able to completely, become devoid of emotion, and that was of love and like that, and that's. What they had done was, in order to try and protect a society, they've removed themselves from it. And I think that was one of the things that Luke was trying to say, is that when you do that, you lose part of who you are. You lose the identity of the community, and that's why keeping the Force sensitive, allowing them to stay in their own communities and develop their strength in the Force, it will make it much more, I think, stronger, and will make them make society better as a whole. I think that was a lot of the theme was thinking about how, thinking about society from as the whole, instead of thinking about how to consolidate things, consolidate power, consolidate money, consolidate. Those are the things that they were, I think, the themes that they were trying to communicate.
Yeah.
And that was one of my other likes, is that if this could have been more, like I said earlier, when you hear the word millennial, there's a lot of judgment and preconceived notions, but this movie was pretty much a millennial anthem, in that, the overriding theme was that we can't do things the way we'd always been doing them. They did not work. I mean, they catastrophically did not work. And Luke knew that, and he was trying to tell Rey that, but he had so removed himself from everyone. I don't feel like he was doing an excellent job of trying to get her to understand that, and that's why he was so curmudgeonly, or he was doing a bad job. And I think that's what Yoda was telling him, was like, yes, your instincts here are correct. She does not need to learn anything about the Jedi that she doesn't already know.
Right. Plus, she stole all the books. Which
Although, is fantastic.
Did she steal the books, or did Yoda put them on there?
I think she stole them.
Yeah? Yeah. Well, not stole. Acquired.
But I loved, let me tell you, I loved Yoda.
You loved Yoda?
I loved Yoda, and
He was just a goofball. He was Empire Strikes Back Yoda.
Yeah, he was Empire Strikes Back Yoda, and literally he was the Empire Strikes Back Yoda, because they pulled that puppet out of storage, which is fantastic. And I could tell immediately that he was a puppet again. But later on, when I went online and I saw that he was the puppet, I was like, that's awesome! I love things like that. Yeah. I don't know. What was I? It's getting late. Yeah, the previous generation or iteration of something really effed it up, and it's time to try something new. And again, I feel like that's a theme of an allegory of our current situation.
What situation? Huh?
Between our millennials and our baby boomers.
Sorry.
And then the rest of us stuck in the middle.
So you got anything else written down there you want to touch on that you like?
No, I think that was it. The new direction, the tear down of the old, for creating something new, and kind of links in with the millennial anthem.
All right, I only got one more thing. This movie visually was awesome and stunning to me. There were so many beautiful things. The whole last sequence on that planet there, that red shit coming up, is like, we got to figure out some way of adding more color in here. Yeah, these things have to have a little tail hook thing that somehow stabilizes
They were skis.
them.
They were like some sort of ski.
It makes everything work better. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. But the best thing that they did in that movie was the hyperspace impact.
The light speed impact.
Yeah. It's hyperspace, right?
Hyperspeed? Am I confusing? Light speed. Jump to light speed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. 12 parsecs? But anyway, it doesn't matter.
That was gorgeous. That was gorgeous and breathtaking. Like, I caught my breath when it happened, and then he cut all the sound, and that made it 12 times more impactful.
It made it really impactful for those people that complained and thought the theater had lost sound.
Yeah, I love the news article I saw the other day where theaters, especially AMC theaters, were posting signs outside that says, and they told it like at an hour 40 into the movie, all the sound's going to cut out, and it was because the director wanted to do that. You have not lost. You didn't lose any sound.
It's art.
It's going to be like that for like a minute, and it was art. It was art.
Yeah,
and it was cool. Art. I mean that it almost like a freeze frame, and it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. I'd love a print of that.
Yeah, it'd probably have something like that.
Yeah,
where all the shrapnel from the ship like spread out among all the.
Yeah, she just cut right through it. It was just like, oh, that was glorious. That was beautiful, and I think that was probably the best shot of the entire film.
You know what's going to be awesome in number 9 when we find out that she jumped into a pod just before it jumped at the light speed. Like, she threw that throttle forward and just went diving into a pod.
Nice.
And she's okay. She comes back, saves everyone. It's like, that's why she had to be the one. Anyway, all right. So we're like almost 50 minutes in. So I say we cut it here.
I think it's a good idea so that we can reconvene after we see it again tomorrow.
Yeah. And then we're not going to be reconvening tomorrow.
No.
We're going to see it tomorrow because we're getting to hang out with some friends and play some games afterward.
Check.
So, but maybe, I don't know when. I'm not going to promise nothing.
We make no promises.
No, but I will promise this. Next Friday, the 5th of January, we start doing our Pandemic Season 2 of Pandemic Legacy. Season the second. And hopefully we're going to live stream all those games of that. So if you played Pandemic Legacy Season 1, you should have already played Season 2 so you can watch us play it, or I don't know.
Don't watch if you ever plan on playing it.
Yeah, that's true too. So I guess only people that are like, no, yeah, I'm never going to be able to play this, or have already played it, will get it through. But anyway, I just want to put that out there. And hopefully I'm going to try and talk her over there into talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because that's been back. Did you see the little video I did yesterday?
I did.
Oh, okay. All the different things. I would like to talk about Doctor Who.
Doctor Who Christmas special?
Because that was fun.
Yeah, it was.
And,
I'd like to watch that again before we talk about it.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about Bright though. That was fun.
I would love more Bright, but I would have loved, well, because I would love a deeper dive into the world, but I don't want another movie. I would love a series. I would love a limited run series, 8-10 episodes, something where they could really give us some of that background about the Dark One. And
yeah, because we all know nothing about any of that.
Yeah,
like they didn't dive into it at all.
No.
I mean, it could have just been a drug lord and running guns and just as much, and they were like going to break the drug lord out of jail instead of releasing the Dark Lord and drug lord, Dark Lord. See, it's all there, Lord.
Lordy.
Anyway, all right. I think we'll sign off now.
That sounds good.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and we'll catch you later.
Woohoo!
Bye.
Bye.